gotten a buff in raid, and I think it's put her back on top as a top tier support. For today's video, we're gonna go ahead and test Raglin out both in PvP and PvE. Hey you guys, it's Cece. Welcome back to my channel. Raglin, of course, is the topic of today's video, and Raglin is a champ that I pulled, and I actually thought she was a pretty good champion at the time, but it looks like she has gotten even better. So we need to go ahead and take a look at her overview, what she actually does, and maybe what's even changed. So her first skill does attack an enemy 3 times, fills the turn meter of 3 random allies by 15%, and allies can only have their turn meter filled once per turn by this skill. Second skill removes all debuffs from all allies, places a 50% increased accuracy buff, 50% increased attack buff on all allies for 2 turns, then heals all allies. The value of this heal is proportional to this champion's attack and HP. So having a heal in there, and the fact that now it is the champion's attack and HP in there, you have the potential to do a good amount of heal. Having the cleanse has also been really nice. Does have a revive, revives an ally with 75% HP, 100% turn meter, also decreases the cooldowns of all of the revived ally skills by 3 turns, and this is on a 2-turn cooldown. Honestly, you guys, if you ask me, this is an absolutely insane revive. Potentially one of the best revivers I currently have on my account now. And they've added in a passive. This champion is immune to block active skill debuffs and cooldown increasing effects. She does have an aura, 33% ally defense in all battles by 33%. I will say Raglin was a top tier support previously, but I think in the meta and all other champions and skills that were coming out is where she kind of got lost in a bit, and I do think this is really just a nice refresher for her, and I think it does push her back up into that top tier status that honestly she deserves. I'll get the crown, of course she deserves that. So for my Raglin for today, in terms of skills, so I do actually have this revived on cooldown, so booked her enough to at least be able to get this. I haven't fully booked the other skills, wasn't concerned about it. Of course the revive was the main priority here. In terms of gear, I do have her on a speed and a relentless set. For now, I'm happy with this. I think it works well for her. I like the relentless. I like the opportunity to potentially get extra turns because she is a support. The more that I can get extra turns and reduce the cooldown, the better. And I kind of just have her built on that supportive type of a build. I will say though, it is nice that now the heal is scaling off both of HP and attack. I also think this buff is a good reason not to necessarily go by this, because if you say got Raglin and then you open up the ratings and you're like, oh, I mean, obviously none of this makes sense. This is no longer relevant. And I do wish anytime they buffed a champ, this kind of got refreshed, because you're gonna tell me she's only a 2.5 almost everywhere. If I was new, I might believe you, but since then I've learned a lot, and I've learned better to know that this is not relevant, and now she is definitely up in those 4 point something ranges. We're gonna go ahead and actually start on the PvP side, and I do feel like I have a team that's kind of set and going in terms of arena and their synergy, but I'm not opposed to bringing along 2 revivers along the way. And I will say, having the skill that we just used on Raglin right here, having the ability to increase attack, increase accuracy as well, is really nice to make sure my champions potentially land their other debuffs that they're doing. You'll also notice, potentially if you missed it, but she's going again, and that is that relentless kicking in. So the fact that I'm able to kind of go again with her, it's going to increase the cooldowns in the future. So I love the fact that I've got her on relentless. I'm actually very, very happy with the build, and she's going again. So the other thing with the first skill is the fact that it does fill the turn meter of 3 random allies. So simply by her going and attacking, it's going to be able to fill that turn meter of my allies. So potentially giving them that opportunity to be able to go next and not get cut by somebody else on the other team. But instead, I might be the one that's actually able to cut them and do the synergy with my team and allow everybody else to keep moving. So you've got Raglin. That's the build that I suggest for her. You can kind of, you've seen it in action, so you know, but her second skill is already ready to go. And of course, the arena battle, she works with the team. I didn't lose anybody here, so I wasn't able to test her revive out. But look at that increased accuracy in there, increased attack, and then go ahead and we'll finish this off with He-Man and get into another battle. That one being a little easier. I'm going to try to take her into some of these tougher battles to see how she performs. We'll take that auto off, but it's already good that they're using the skills I would like them to use, to be honest. So go ahead, do some blocking of buffs here. Go in with skill 3. Now, typically I do have a defense break on my team. Swapped him out for Raglin, and I mean, I could take Sifty out, but I like having all those buffs. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. The buffs are nice, and I will say I do also like Raglin for the first skill. Just being able to increase the turn meter has been really nice, and I may actually bring her along into some of my battles more for PvP. I have been using her in live arena as well, so if you went ahead and saw my live arena video where I did only voids, I brought her along, and it kind of showed why she works really well in there. And since this buff, I actually think I might make her a permanent member of my live arena team. And between her and Cece, I do have the 2 revivers in there. So at some point, we'll probably come across her dying and needing to revive. But even into my regular arena team, I think she could actually work pretty well in here. And I will say, I do think this buff is kind of brought some life into her in something like arena and something like live arena. If you guys have been following, then you know I have been doing live arena on my other account. That is the account that's got Queen of Hearts. So I don't want you to confuse the two and see who I'm putting into this void team and be like, see, why are you not using this champion or that champion or this champion? We're just a little limited to what we have. This one has not actually really done any live arena, so we're starting at the bottom. We are gonna see what happens. I've been fortunate enough to pull quite a few voids though, so in terms of who they're actually going to ban, I definitely see a few champs being banned on my side. We're gonna go in with Hegemon first, and then I think in terms of who's actually built for my legendary voids, we need 5 of them. So I don't know for sure. I would like to use Warlord in here, although he's not fully ascended. Maybe I can bring him along. This person's already got legendaries for... This might not go our way. We're just gonna say that. We're gonna bring Cece. I could see her getting banned, to be honest, you guys. And then we'll bring in Raglin too. Why not? I was so happy with that Raglin buff. So I think this will be good. Although I do need to re-gear my Raglin, to be fair. Now, I think my last 2 picks, I will bring in Sir Nick. And then, as I said, I want to bring in my Warlord because I know he'd be good in here. So maybe we'll do that. We'll see who else they bring. So I can't bring my Wukong, who would be like one of my go-tos in live arena or any of those champs. So let's bring in Sir Nick, and then we're gonna bring in Warlord as well. And again, not going into this with any type of a speed aura because I don't have a void that's got one right now either. You see how Arbiter would fit in so nicely into here? But the question is, of course, how many of these battles can we actually win? And we are gonna flex as well. Full void. Now there's a few champs I'm thinking we got to get rid of this guy. Olin is another one to potentially get rid of, but I really don't want to mess with this, so that is the champ we're gonna ban. They did ban my Hegemon, which I kind of suspected because it has that passive that is gonna go first no matter what. Now I don't necessarily mind a resistance lead in here. We can do a defense, we could do HP, but I think the resistance, because hopefully we can resist some debuffs. That's the goal anyway. If they're faster, if they're stronger, they could very well outspeed me here. I could also go with an HP percent lead, but this is my thought process going into it. So we are first. We're going to use a second skill, of course, on Cece, speed everybody up. And then we don't really have any debuffs. We don't really need to do any revives. So we're just essentially going to go in with this skill here. The nice thing is it does fill the turn meter. So let's go ahead and attack. There we get the turn meter boost. So we're gonna do this one because we have a 70% chance of putting target skills on cooldown. So 3rd skill with Warlord. Unkillable buff. Yep, might as well do that. Get my unkillable going. I haven't figured out any synergy with this team yet, as you can kind of see. My first time really putting them together, not going into this with... There's some thought process in like who I potentially want to use a skill on, but in terms of their synergy together, I think Arbiter is what I'm missing in this team. But we'll see. I think they're going to try to take down Raglin first, but I kind of have 2 buffs in here if you think about it. So having 2 buffs, that's really nice to have, actually. Having the 2 revives. I think I said buffs. I meant revives. Block debuffs off on all allies and a shield buff. Yeah, may as well. Let's shield up. And then we'll get a sleep going over here. Now, this is attacking all enemies, and I don't want to do that because I don't want to wake him up. Hopefully we didn't get a freeze, but did quite a bit of damage there. Even though my Warlord is not fully ascended, I do think he actually plays a pretty pivotal role in here. The cooldown, if I can land that, is going to be huge going through these battles. Are they thinking, deciding? He's getting a little bit weak. They might try to take down Warlord, but again, I could go in with Raglin's revive. And remember, we also have Cece, so... Oh, he's hanging on. Oh, we do have the unkillable as well. That's true. We don't have any debuffs. Increase attack, heals all allies. We're gonna do this. We could grab a heal. So everyone is healed back up. And that is Raglin. I'm so happy I actually her, honestly. I was happy when I first pulled her, and then I was happy about the buff. So this kind of puts her a little bit to the test as well. Yeah, get rid of ninja. Now we can do the second skill here. Oh, we even landed the smite. You know what? We'll do that. We'll buff up. And then we should be able to finish. Take your turn. But honestly, first token here, so far so good. They actually worked pretty well together. Wasn't sure how Warlord would do considering not fully ascended. He's built, but not fully built. And so far, so good. I did also bring Raglin along into my live arena, and honestly, that went really well as well. And she kind of earned a core part in that team, as I had mentioned. When she ended up healing, it was actually a huge heal, and it brought everybody back up to where I needed them to be. And having that increase in attack and increase in accuracy definitely helped on landing the debuffs. Next, I really wanted to test Raglin out in PvE. Now, Raglin used to be in a lot of my teams, but over time, I kind of just took her out. Felt I didn't really need her. She didn't bring enough for me to keep her into the team. But honestly, after testing her out in all of the areas, all of the dungeons, I think she's coming back in. And again, it's for a few reasons. The fact that with the first skill, I am able to increase the turn meter of my other champs, it definitely keeps things going. She does have the cleanse as well, and it is really satisfying when I have all these debuffs on me, and then she goes ahead and cleanses them off. And then the fact that she's increasing the attack, she is increasing the accuracy, which of course I talked about in Arena, but it's something that is worth noting in the dungeons as well. So I think she has become an all-around good support as well. When I needed her to revive, I had that revive in there, which was great. And having the addition of getting the skills on cooldown is actually huge. Not only just a reviver now, she's a reviver with that built-in support. And honestly, she kind of keeps the team moving, which is not something I necessarily would have thought before. And having her added passive in there is really just a bonus to things. I decided to try to push things and see if I can even get down further in stages, and she did actually help me do so. At some point in my Ice Golem, when Whisper got one shot, she immediately had that revive. She did also allow for some of my damage dealers to do quite a bit of damage. I saw my Whisper hitting in that 110k range, as well as He-Man. So just that addition that she had in her change in her first skill really helped, because I can fill that supportive role now with her, because she is able to buff up, she is able to revive, and increase the turn meter of champions. So all of these things put into one champ, I 100% think makes her up there in that triple S tier. All of this definitely means that I need to get her masteries complete as well, which works out because we do have the super rates on Minnow going on. So in terms of a build, I'm going to be leaning more towards a PvP style for Raglin, even though I do plan to use her in my dungeons. I do think she is now going to be a core part of my live arena journey. So maybe in the future I will change that, but for masteries, that is what I'm going to be aiming on. So I will go down that defensive strat as well as the supportive one to get her really fully built into that type of a role and to really make the most use out of her. I don't think the offense will make the most sense for my use for her. And even using her in PvE, I still think this is probably where I would lean towards. And overall, watching her through my dungeons, I think I am still really happy keeping her on a relentless set and getting additional turns. I could see why you'd want her on a speed set. You really want her to be as quick as you can, but I know I'm not going to be able to hit those speed ticks anyway by putting her on all speed. So I think for a long-term goal, I'm going to try to keep her just on a fast, relentless set. And for my uses, I do still think that is the best option for her. The 2 set for speed is nice because obviously you do want her nice speedy. You also want her to be quite tanky if possible. So getting her that HP, the defense, the speed, as I mentioned, some resistance. And if you can get in some attack, sure. But now that they've added in that her heal is based on HP as well, it's not as much of a characteristic as a stat that we essentially needed to hit previously. If you download Raid Shadow Legends using my link, I'm actually going to start you off with the free legendary champion on day 1. And then at level 10, level 20, and level 30, you'll get yourself an epic. That is 4 amazing champions that you can get just by downloading using my link. These Raglin changes have put her back on all of my teams. I think she is back in with the meta. I think she is a fantastic supportive champion. And I also think she's a champ that if you haven't gone ahead and possibly rebuilt her, if you had her in the vault or any of that, now is the time to do so. She fills so many roles, and I'm genuinely so happy to have her and excited to see how she's going to help my account moving forward. So I want you guys comment down below and let me know who is the best reviver that you have on your team, and be sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos, as I am planning on really putting her to the test as I take her through more live arena journeys and seeing how far down she'll take me into my dungeons. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!